Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Saraswati Namastubhyam Parade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunahamaya Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Giri Yatkripatamaham Vande Paramanandamadhavam Paramanandamadhavam. Okay. Now, usually for Navaratri, we would have special sessions for all the 9 nights. This time we didn't have it. So I know some of you were wondering why. This time I thought that our Divine Mother is Gita Ji, Bhagavad Gita itself. And to be very honest, I couldn't read anything else. So I tried. I tried to see if I could do something else for Navaratri, but I could not stop reading my Gita. So therefore, this Navaratri, she is our mother for now and for always. So I thought we would continue on with the class, just worshipping her. So let's read now the verses we covered last time, 7, 8, and 9. We can read together. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mamayo veti tatvataha so vikampena yogena yujyate natra samshayaha aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanditaha macchitta madgata pranaha bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. So here Bhagwan is saying very beautifully that so far I have described my vibhuti and my yoga. My yoga means my essence, my vibhuti, my expression. I've described it a little bit. More he's going to describe later on. And he says, the one who knows this, yo veti tattvataha, verse number 7, the one who knows this in essence and totally, completely, the one who knows this, gets established in something called Avikampa Yoga. Avikampa Yoga means unshakable yoga. That this being who knows this will always remain steady. And in chapter 2, this is equivalent to Sthita Prajna. In chapter 2, we have Sthita Prajna Lakshana, the one of steady wisdom. This is the exact same thing. One becomes very steady because within themselves, they see that divinity, and in dealing with the world, they also see that divinity. There's absolutely no difference. And when all they see is that divinity, then there's no reason to get afraid or get mad and confused, because it is what it is. Those who are not able to see this divinity will ask such questions as, why is this happening this way? Or what is the world becoming? What's going to happen in the future? These are people who are srishti chintaka, just thinking about creation. They will ask all of these questions. But there are those who are paramartha chintaka, those who think about reality, and they say, you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. That's it. It's the expression of Brahman. And this is something that you cannot, how many ways you try to explain and you try to find words to define it, we won't be able to do justice to it. It is just the expression of Brahman, to manifest in different names and forms, to manifest as living and non-living. It's simply the nature. So, in this way, they're established in it, fearlessly established in it. And there's no doubt. They're fearlessly established because they also don't doubt. They don't doubt that there is, they don't doubt the origin of the world. They don't doubt the substratum of the world. They're very, very rooted in that everything is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. So they themselves don't doubt, and there's also no doubt that they get established in this tremorless yoga. Then in verse number 8, he said that I am the origin of everything, and in me everything is sustained. Knowing this, iti matva bhajante ma, people seek me or people worship me. So knowing who I am, people worship me, Bhagwan says. And how do they worship? Bhava samanvitaha means they're completely soaked in me. Their whole, it's this loving consciousness, how Gurudev has described it. Their whole being is in me, immersed in me. What does it mean that the whole being is immersed in me? In verse number 9, then he gives 4 things that they do. Those who worship Bhagwan, what do they do? Matchittaha, their mind is in Bhagwan. Madgata pranaha, all of their senses are engaged in Bhagwan. Bodhayantah parasparam, usually they discuss only about that reality, about Bhagwan. Katayantashchama nityam. And if they have to speak, they only speak this. So here we can see very beautifully there's a progression. Meaning, when somebody knows of something and they know the greatness of it, they cannot help but worship. It's natural. Iti matva. When somebody recognizes the greatness of someone or something, they just naturally worship in all ways. I'll give you a very simple example to understand. Let us say you go to a restaurant and you go there to eat maybe Italian food. Go there to eat. And after that, the chef comes up to you and asks, how was the dinner? And you say, yes, it was good. And that's it. That's all you say. It was good. And then you complain. It was good, but it took too long to come out. It took like half an hour to come out. Then the chef begins to tell you that, everything is made from scratch. That's why it took so long to come out. It's all organic herbs and spices, or all organic ingredients. And it took so much time to make because we do everything from scratch and we cook it right there and then. And then the chef also tells you that this is a family owned business as well. This is the 4th generation of the family who's owning this restaurant, and that's why we're here. So everything the chef tells you. Now, after knowing that, then one feels in awe. automatically you feel in awe that what a beautiful thing. Everything is organic, everything is made from scratch, and it's made with love because it's generation after generation. It's not like you're just doing business here. So automatically, matchittaha, the mind will dwell in this wonder, in this awe. Madgata pranaha, automatically we'll start to calculate when can we come back to the restaurant. Because it was so nice, it was so good. And then when we speak to our friends, bodhayantaha parasparam. When we speak to our friends, what will we do? I think you should try this restaurant. If the topic about food comes, I think you should go to this restaurant. It's really good. Everything's beautiful. And kathayantascha mam nityam. And even if nobody discusses with you, openly you go and tell everybody about it. So this love naturally comes when we know the glory and the beauty of something. It's not forced. Love is never forced. It just comes. It just happens. So this is exactly how these people worship Bhagwan. It's their nature. And if we want to put them in 4 Ds, the first D is dwell, where the mind is dwelling, matchittaha. Then direct, madgata pranaha, means all of our sense objects are directed towards that divinity. Bodhayantah parasparam, discuss when you're talking to somebody, discuss about this. And kathayantascha mam nityam, disseminate, share these lovely, lovely thoughts with everybody. So they too benefit. One more point about this I'll share is that when we were in COVID times, there is a Chinmay Mission Sevak. His name is Bhaskar, and he loves the Bhagavatam. So every time, he'll write, why did Krishna steal butter? He'll put the question there, and people would reply based on their understanding, and different Mahatmas also commentary about it. So I was just reading this one now. Why did Sri Krishna steal the clothes of the gopi? And this is how they're reveling. This is what they're doing. So we also understand. So there's obviously that explanation that the clothes are the sheaths, the layers of the koshas. The Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. The 5 sheaths, the food sheath, vital air sheath, mind, intellectual sheath, and the bliss sheath. And so he was teaching the gopis to remove those sheaths, disidentify from those sheaths, and come to me as you are, as that Atman. So that's one meaning. The second meaning is they take Kenopanishad, Pratibodha Viditam Matam, means that in every thought there's consciousness. Consciousness is hiding behind the veil of thought. So therefore, when he takes the clothes, he's saying, uncover that veil which is covering thought, uncover that veil and realize that that thought is only consciousness. Uncover that veil and know that thought in actuality is only consciousness. Then another person said, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, according to Ishavasyopanishad, that this whole world is pervaded, is clothed in that divinity. So if it's already clothed in divinity, why put another layer of clothes on it? It's already divine. So in this way, this is how great Mahatmas, they do Ramanam. They just revel and revel and revel on one thing and the other. And this is how they pass time. So tushyanti ramanti cha. They, whether with others or whether by themselves, this is what they're dwelling upon. Now, to those people who are doing this, what does Bhagwan do? And that's where we are now in verse number 10. Okay, so let us read verse number 10. Tesham satatayuktanam
Tesham sadatayuktanam
bhajatam priti purvakam
bhajatam priti purvakam
dadami buddhi yogam tam
dadami buddhi yogam tam
yena mam upayanti te.
yena mamupayanti te.
Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. So he says here, Tesham, Tesham, to them, satatayuktanam, who are ever steadfast, bhajatam, those who are worshipping me, and it's not that anybody's telling them to worship, it's their nature, priti purvakam, and they are worshipping how? With love. Priti purvakam. What do? Dadami, I give. Buddhi yogam, the yoga of discrimination. Tam, that buddhi yoga I give to them. Yena, by which mam, me, upayanti, by which they come to me. They come to me. To them, ever steadfast, worshipping me with love, I give the yoga, buddhi yoga, by which they come to me. So one question might arise in your minds here is that I thought they were established in the tremorless yoga. So why do they need this buddhi yoga? So first we'll see the meaning of buddhi yoga and then we'll answer that question. So tesham satata yuktanam. Satata yuktanam means satata. The key word here is satata. Their lives are worship. So it's not that they're worshiping 1 hour a day or 15 minutes a day or in the night they do some puja. Their lives are worship. Their lives, like how Gurudev says, my life is a love story to Swami Tapovan Maharaj. So their lives are full of love. And as I said, it's not forced, it is very natural because the more they know of Bhagwan, of that reality, they just automatically feel that awe, wonder, and love. So satata, in everything they worship. And we already saw how they worship. And when they worship me, what do they want anything? So Adi Shankaracharya ji says, Artitvadina karanena. Is it that they want something? Is it that they want to get, they want to obtain some desire, they want some wealth or status or something? He says, no, priti purvaka. They are worshipping me for love. They are worshipping me out of love. That's it. Only love. There's nothing else. There's no other reason. It's just actually their nature. Their nature is love. That's why they're worshipping me. And to such people, dadami, I give buddhi yoga. What is buddhi yoga? Samyak darshanam, mat tattva vishayam, means that yoga of understanding the reality of who Bhagwan is. Mat tattva vishayam, understanding the reality of Bhagwan, which is samyak darshana, being able to see very clearly what is the reality of Bhagwan, what is the reality. That buddhi yoga, I give that to them. Why do you give them buddhi yoga? So they can enjoy life? No. Tam yena mam upayantite, so that they can finally come to be one with me. That's why I give them this buddhi yoga. Now, here, see, for those who are established in the tremorless yoga, they don't need buddhi yoga because they already have it. They're already established in it. But there are some who are not established in it. There are some who have heard through Shravanam, that yes, that divinity is within me, and that divinity is in the substratum of the world. I've heard it, I've listened to it, I've had it explained to me. So I know, it's not like I don't know, but I don't understand. I still have doubts. So that Shravanam has come, whereby we understand that, there's some reality, and that reality is in me and the substratum of the world, but we still doubt, how is that possible? How is that reality really me? And how is that reality really the substratum of the world? Because when I look at the world, all I see is the world. When I look at me, all I see is my body. So there are some lingering doubts. To them, Bhagavan is saying, I will give you this knowledge. Because those doubts need to be clarified, and they're not just going to go away like that. Bhagavan says, I will give you the knowledge, that right knowledge, which will remove all your doubts so that you can come to me finally. And what is the nature now of that knowledge? This is what Bhagavan is going to say in this verse number 11. Okay. तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम्
तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम्
अहम् अज्ञानजं तमः
अहम् अज्ञानजं तमः
नाशयाम्यात्मभावस्थः
नाशयाम्यात्मभावस्थः
ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता
ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वत
तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम् अहम् अज्ञानजं तमः नाशयाम्यात्मभावस्थः ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता. So here he says very, very beautifully, Tesham, Tesham, again for whom? For those people who he's giving the Buddhi Yoga to. Tesham eva anukampartham. I am giving them this out of compassion. Aham, I, ajnanajam, that which is born of ignorance. Tamaha, that darkness which is born out of ignorance. Nashayami, I destroy it. How? Atma bhavasta, dwelling in their heart, jnana deepena, by the lamp of knowledge, which is bhasvata, which is luminous, I destroy it. Out of mere compassion for them, I, dwelling within their hearts, destroy the darkness born of ignorance by the luminous lamp of knowledge. So let's see what this means now here. What is grace? He says, Tesham eva anukampartham. What is this grace? What is this compassion that Bhagwan speaks about? Some people think that Bhagwan's grace or compassion is when he fulfills our desires. So when Bhagwan fulfills our desires, then Bhagwan's grace is upon me. No, not exactly, because the moment our desires are fulfilled, we're still not full. Again, we want something else, and again, we want something else, and again, we want something else. So the fulfillment of desires is not a sign of grace. The knowledge coming into our lives, that is a sign of grace. So he says, Eva anukampartham, out of my own grace, my compassion, I destroy ignorance. So if we want to know, do we have or are we in tune with Bhagavan's grace? Is our ignorance getting destroyed? If yes, grace is there, it's evident. If not, then we are not tuning into that grace. And grace, how Gurudev also describes in Bhagavad Gita, is so beautiful, that he says also, it is like the sun that's shining everywhere. But if our windows and doors are closed and we don't feel the sunlight, it is not the sun's fault. It's because we're not tuning into it. So grace is something that's everywhere. It's available to everyone. There's no partiality to it. But those who open their hearts to it, then they're able to have that grace flow through them. So he says, out of my grace, out of my compassion, this ignorance. And what is this ignorance? Here he says, Ajnanajam is avivekataha jatam. This ignorance is due to aviveka. Aviveka means lack of discrimination or lack of discernment. The lack of understanding actually what is Atma, what is Anatma. Whenever we hear the term Viveka, Viveka means to discern. And whenever we have to discern, there should be two things, right? So we are not discerning what is Atma, what is Anatma, what is Brahma, and what is the world. There's two types of discernments that we have to make. So one is the level of Atma and Anatma, meaning I have to understand what is the seer, what is the seen, what is Drik, what is Drishya. We don't even think about that. We think that I am this whole package. We're not thinking. We think I'm this whole package and we're living life, and the aim of my life is to satisfy my bodily needs, my mind, my intellectual needs. The aim of my life is to make my personality shine. This is what we're caught up with. We don't even stop to think, is this me? This is called aviveka. Is this me or what? Because this body is seen. It's an object, and I am the seer. This mind is seen. It's an object. I'm the seer. This intellect that I have with all ideals and beliefs and convictions, it's seen, and I'm the seer. Have we thought for a moment, am I the seen or the seer? Have we thought that really if I keep understanding who I am actually the seer, and the seer can never become seen? So one level of viveka is this, I understanding what is Atma and what is Anatma. If I have not thought of it, I have not gone deep into it, that means I am still dwelling in that ignorance. This is one part of the Viveka. Another part of the Viveka is this, what is this world? What is this world? Is this actually names and forms and all the things that I see? Is this actually the world, or is there something beneath it? What is underlying this world of names and forms? And when we inquire into it deeply, the substratum of everything is consciousness alone, is consciousness. But we're failing to see that. We're just getting caught up in names and forms. How is it consciousness? This is something everyone has to reflect upon. But anything, any living thing or non-living thing can only be established if it is experienced. Anything. So this book, how do I know that it exists? How can I establish its existence? I established its existence because it's in my experience. How can I establish the existence of this water bottle? Because it's in my experience. How can I establish that there's a theory called Big Bang? Because it's in my thought experience. How can I establish that I don't know the other galaxies that exist? Even the unknown. How can I establish the unknown? Because it is in my experience. So everything, whether it's known or unknown, is only established because it is experienced. And the core of every experience is consciousness. It might be your experience, it might be somebody else's experience, but the core of every single experience is consciousness. Everything is experienced in consciousness. And as consciousness. It is nothing but consciousness alone, actually. Because if you remove consciousness from the equation, you can't experience anything. So this is something that we have to think about. This is the second viveka we have to do. What is Brahma? What is Sarga? Sarga meaning creation. This ignorance, it thrives on aviveka and avichara. It thrives on not thinking. When we don't think deeply about our nature or the nature of the world, then ignorance thrives. But the more we think and we inquire, ignorance falls. It falls. Because after all, ignorance is false. So avivekataha jatam. And this ajnana tamaha, Bhagwan says, I destroy this ignorance. Now, this is another thing. Well, how does Bhagwan destroy ignorance? How is ignorance actually destroyed? So that's what we're going to also explore. He says, first, pay attention to this word, Atma Bhavastaha, which means Bhagwan is residing within us. Residing within us. So residing within us, how is he destroying ignorance? Now, this is an example I want you to think about. First, I'll give you the external example, then I want you to internalize it, okay? Now, the external example is the sun. Now, think that the sun is there, and the sun is covered by a cloud, as though covered by a cloud, right? So you have the sun. The sun is as though covered by a cloud. And then at some point in time, a gust of wind comes and blows away the clouds. Now, when the sun is as though covered by the clouds, first of all, can the clouds actually cover the sun? And the fact that we can see the clouds is because of the sun, right? So when the clouds are as though covering the sun, it's just actually covering our perception. It's not covering the sun, it's covering our perception, right? And when the gust of wind blows away the clouds, did anything happen to the sun? The sun is the same. Nothing happened to the sun. When the clouds were there, the sun was there as is. When the gust of wind came, the sun was there as is. Now internalize this example wherein that pure consciousness is the sun. Okay? So internalize. Pure consciousness within me is the sun. And that gust, that cloud, the block of clouds is what we call ignorance. Ignorance. So the clouds are called ignorance, and the gust of wind that blows the clouds away, that's called knowledge. Knowledge. So through the grace of Bhagwan, Guru comes to our life, and that cloud of ignorance, it is blown away by knowledge. Knowledge of who we are. And that knowledge consists of knowing that we ultimately are the seer, not the seen, and that Brahman is the substratum of the entire creation, and that I, the seer, and Brahman are one. This is the nature of knowledge. When that knowledge comes and it blows away the clouds, then the sun sun is always shining, but there's nothing as though covering that sun, that consciousness anymore. And it is just the luminosity of consciousness functioning through the mind and through the senses without some dark black cloud covering it. It's just the luminosity of consciousness functioning through the mind, functioning through the senses. And that is called knowledge of the self. That is called knowledge of the self. Knowledge of the self is just removal of ignorance and the self shining in its own right, and manifesting through all our thoughts and words and deeds. So that even if we see thoughts, even if we see names and forms, we know that it is nothing but that consciousness shining through everything. But in the veil of ignorance, through that black, dark cloud, we're seeing names and forms. We're seeing body, mind, and intellect. We're seeing all of these things. And we don't know who we are. But once that notion is removed, all we experience is consciousness shining through everything. Everything, every being, everywhere. That is called knowledge. Knowledge. This is how ignorance is destroyed. And this ignorance is destroyed through Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. It is not just, don't think it is just like a one-time thing. It's a constant listening, constant reflection, constant contemplation on that reality. Through that, the ignorance is destroyed. So he says, Nashayami Atma Bhavastaha, because after all, I am your own self. I am always there. I am always readily available. It's just the removal of ignorance that's required. So, subtle point here in that our Upanishads sometimes say that the mind is needed for self-realization, and then other Upanishads will say the mind cannot realize the self. So when this occurs, how we're to understand this is mind is required just to remove ignorance. That's all. But the mind itself cannot know Brahman because Brahman is ever known. Just like the gust of wind is required to blow the clouds away, but the gust of wind need not illumine the sun. The sun is ever there. Okay? Now, and he says, I do this through Jnana Deepa, that knowledge, the lamp of knowledge, the luminous lamp of knowledge. Here, Adi Shankaracharya ji gives a very nice sort of example. So I'm going to share my screen and then I'm going to read it to you in Sanskritam so you can see what exactly he's talking about. And then we will see the explanation here. Okay, so just give me a moment while I get that ready. Okay, here we go. Okay, Gurudev has also given this in his commentary. But basically, here is this lamp. Oh, okay. Something has gone wrong when I opened it here. Okay, but never mind. We will go through it. Here, he says, this is like Jnana Deepa, okay? Bhakti Prasada Sneha Vishiktena. So first, in this lamp of knowledge, so think this is the lamp of knowledge, the ghee here is bhakti. So it moved here for some reason, but the ghee, if it were to have ghee, that ghee is devotion. So that which keeps the knowledge flowing and going, that is called devotion, bhakti. Then he says, Mad bhava navi nivesha vate ritena. There's this oxygen here, just this air, common air that's blowing all around, thinking of me constantly. That's the air. And it's a very calm air. It's not a wind or air that's going to blow the flame away. Very calm wind is called the constant thought of Bhagwan. So you'll see that bhakti here is the ghee that keeps that jnana flowing, and this constant thought of Bhagavan is the oxygen. Then he says, Brahmacharyadi sadhana samskaravat prajnana vartina. So the wick here, the wick is knowledge of who we are. And this knowledge is only possible through spiritual practices such as brahmacharya. Brahmacharya here means regulation, sense control, mind control is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya literally means charati brahmani, walking in Brahman. And whenever we're walking or reveling in the higher, automatically our sense is in control, our mind is in control. Then he says, Viraktantakarana dharena. So the entire support of this is vairagya or dispassion. So dispassion is the support of this lamp. Means the base is this dispassion. And when we hear the word dispassion, sometimes we get turned off. It is not actually a turn off. It is a very beautiful thing. As we talked about it before, it's really growing up. Dispassion is really maturity. That we have understood the limitations of the world and now we're ready to move on higher. That's what dispassion is. Then he says, Vishaya vyavritta chitta raga dvesha kalushita nivata apavara kasthena. Here, there's a cover. And the cover here in a lamp is that mind free from raga dvesha, mind free from likes and dislikes. Because whenever we have a mind that's going towards likes and dislikes, the thoughts can never be steady. Something that we like, we will focus on it intensely, and we won't be able to concentrate on the truth because we're too attracted to it. And something that we dislike, same way, we'll be focused on it intensely because we're so attracted to it, we won't be able to focus on the truth. So these likes and dislikes, they capture our mind, they capture our thoughts. So this is the cover. The cover is just a mind free from raga dvesha. Then he says, Nitya pravrittaikagriya dhyana janita samyak darshana. So this steady flame is that ekagra, that single pointedness, that constant meditation, that helps us to get to the truth. Shravanam, of course, listening, and mananam, that resolving our doubts and clarity, but nididhyasana, the constant bringing the truth to our mind, to let it settle and to understand, to absorb, to get established in it. That is the actual flame. That's the flame. And he says, in this way, this is how knowledge happens. So the first sadhana, if you notice, the first sadhana he mentions is bhakti. Bhakti, that love of the Lord, is the ghee. That's the first sadhana itself. And then after that, he makes sure that we have vairagya here at the base and a mind completely free from raga dvesha. And the constant thought of Bhagavan surrounding us, and that wick of knowledge, and the steady flame is that constant meditation. And in this way, he removes our ignorance and he gives us that knowledge. Now, Arjuna is overwhelmed. He says, this is very, very beautiful that all of this is happening. And Arjuna now is going to kind of ask him a series of questions by which Bhagwan is going to slowly unfold his vibhutis. So let's see here the first question that Arjuna, well, not the question yet, but the stuti that Arjuna gives Bhagavan. Arjuna uvacha
अर्जुन उवाच
param brahma param dhama
परं ब्रह्म परं धाम
pavitram paramam bhavan
पवित्रं परमं भवान्
purusham shashvatam divyam
पुरुषं शाश्वतं दिव्यम्
adidevamajam vibhum.
आदिदेवमजं विभुम्
Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevamajam vibhum. So here Arjuna says, now there's the only thing that he can do now is just again praise Bhagavan. He says, Paramam, Param Brahma, you are the supreme Brahman. Param Dhama, you are the supreme abode. Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, you are the supreme purifier. Purusham Shashvatam, you are eternal. Divyam, you are divine. Adidevam, you are the origin of all. Ajam, you are unborn. And Vibhum, you are omnipresent. Arjuna said, you are the supreme Brahman, the supreme abode, the supreme purifier, eternal divine Purusha, the God of all gods, unborn, omnipresent. So here, just think about Arjuna's words for a moment. This supreme, supreme means the topmost, the acme of something, the zenith of something. So Param Brahma, Brahma means infinite. You are the supreme, which is infinite. There's nothing more, there's nothing greater than you. There's nothing wider, vaster, bigger than you. If we want to think of the biggest thing in the world, that can only be the thought of Brahman. So he says, you are that supreme, which is infinite. You are that supreme, which is a supreme abode, Param Dhama. Why is Bhagavan known as a supreme abode? Because abode means a place to stay. Many times, we also saw this in chapter 9, that we have different places, resting places. But after some time of rest in the resting place, we get restless. Even our homes, they're a nice abode, they're a nice resting place. But even sometimes we get restless, we want to leave home and go somewhere. And even if we go to our parents' home or our close cousin's home, and we feel so good and peaceful there, as much as we feel that, again, we feel restless. So these abodes, and even if we go to an ashram, we'll say, I want to go to an ashram, I want to go for a few weeks or some time to an ashram, and we feel so peaceful. Again, we get restless there. After some time, it's too much time in the ashram, I need to go home. So all these abodes we have, they are places of rest, but again, we get restless. Bhagwan is Param Dham. Meaning, when you get to that abode, when we get to that realization of who we are, then there's rest everywhere. There's rest everywhere. You don't have to be in a particular place to relax. There's continuous relaxation because one is ever rooted in their stillness. So amidst all of the moving objects, amidst the moving things, amidst the moving people and places, one is ever rooted in their stillness. So you are that Param Dhama. Pavitram Paramam. You are the holiest. You are the greatest purifier. I was sharing with our chicks, Chinmaya Yuva Kendra, the other day, that some people say that Kali Yuga is the worst, but actually Kali Yuga is the best. Huh? Kali Yuga is the best. One, because it's very easy to get Vairagya in Kali Yuga. There's so many crazy things happening, and if we don't get dispassion, I'll be surprised. So it's very easy to get dispassion in Kali Yuga. In Satya Yuga, it's hard to get dispassion because you have so many pleasures. And the second thing is in Kali Yuga, the sadhana is so simple. The sadhana to purify is just to chant the name of Bhagwan. That's it. We don't have to do any elaborate rituals and elaborate prayers like in the other yugas. Just have to sit and chant the name of Bhagavan. So, Pavitram Paramam, that you are the purest thing. You just chanting your name purifies everything. Imagine when we eat, we chant Brahmarpanam. Just by chanting Brahmarpanam, that whole food is purified. That whole everything is purified. When we do puja, when we do the prarthana, we ask for forgiveness. Just by those words, everything is purified. So just by thinking about Bhagavan, just by chanting the name, everything becomes pure. Om Tat Sat, everything becomes pure. Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam. You are that which is Shashvata. You are that which is eternal. You are always, always there. There's never a time you are not. You're ever there. Divyam. You are that which is effulgent. You are consciousness. So Shashvatam is like Sat. It is revealing Sat, that you are ever existent. You are always there. Divyam. And your nature is consciousness. You are that subject which can never be objectified. You are consciousness. Adi Devam Ajam. You are unborn. Unborn meaning nothing ever came out of you. That is Ananda. That is bliss. Bliss. What is Ananda and how is it related to Ananda? Ananda is to tell us, look, we are what we seek. There's no reason to go out to get something. There's no reason to desire for something else or to want something else or to have another experience, because everything is already in you. Everything is already in you. So this Ajam, unborn, is to tell that everything is already in Bhagavan. Therefore, he's Ananda. He doesn't need anything else. In the same way, upon realizing our nature is bliss, our nature is infinite, we don't need anything else. We don't need to be born. Being born as a doer, being born as an enjoyer, being born as a knower. We don't need to take all of these births of becoming a knower, a doer, an enjoyer, an experiencer. You are already that. That is Ananda. You are Sat Chit Ananda, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam. And even though you are Sat Chit Ananda, Vibhum, you manifest as this entire world. This is you, Bhagavan. So in this way, Arjuna praises Bhagavan. Arjuna continues to praise Bhagavan a little bit more and then ask more questions that we will see next week. Okay? Now I will just summarize what we have done and then we can close. Bhagavan says something very beautiful. He says, those who are ever worshipping me out of love, because it's their nature, they have started to know about me and therefore they worship me. How? In these 4 ways. They dwell upon me, they direct their senses towards me, they discuss about me, they disseminate, they share about me. To them, I give them Buddhi Yoga. I give them the knowledge of the truth, the knowledge of the self. For those who already have it, fine. But there are those who may have heard about it, who have come to know something of it, but still have not realized it because of their doubts. So to them, I give Buddhi Yoga, a knowledge of the self, so that they can come to me. What does this Buddhi Yoga do? He explains in verse number 11. To them, out of my compassion, meaning because they're ever tuned up into me, I destroy ignorance. Huh? So Bhagwan says, my compassion or my grace is not fulfilling everybody's desires. My compassion or grace is most evident in the destruction of ignorance. And what is that ignorance? Ignorance comes out of aviveka. Aviveka, we are not thinking. We're not thinking of our nature, and we are not thinking of the nature of the world. We're unable to see that within us there's the seen and there's the seer. We're unable to separate. And in the world, we're unable to separate the substratum from all the names and forms, appearances. And we're unable then to understand that the seer here is the substratum. So this is our aviveka. We don't understand it. And this gets destroyed. How does it get destroyed? It gets destroyed through knowledge. The lamp, the luminous lamp of knowledge. What does the knowledge do? Does the knowledge make you know Brahman? No, the knowledge just removes ignorance. Nothing can know Brahman. Brahman is self-evident, is self-luminous, like that sun, always there. This knowledge is simply doing the task of removing that ignorance. That's it. And once that ignorance is removed, that knowledge shines forth in and through everything. And Arjuna, overwhelmed by this, starts to praise Bhagwan and says that you are the Supreme Most. And actually, only when we worship that Supreme do we get all of this purity, all of this clarity, and all of this love. So more we will see next week. Say the closing prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.